Let's talk about a danger that's probably just inches away from you right now. No, it's not hiding in your fridge, it's not in your medicine cabinet, it's the very thing you're most likely doing this second. So let's get right into it. I mean, really think about that. We stress about what we eat, we count our steps. But what if the simple act of sitting down is quietly canceling out all of our hard work? That is the big question we're going to unpack today. And look, this isn't some fluffy wellness idea. The numbers are real and they are stark. So what's with the 15%? Well, that is the increased risk of an early death for people who sit for more than 8 hours a day compared to people who sit for less than 4. That is a huge, measurable difference from something we all just do. Okay, so let's officially unmask the villain in this story. As we're about to see, we're not just talking about a piece of furniture. We're talking about a daily habit with some pretty serious hidden consequences. You know, what's so fascinating here is the massive disconnect between what we think we're doing and what our body is actually doing. We sit down and our brain goes, time to relax. But our biology, which was wired over thousands of years for movement, takes that as a signal to just power down all the important systems. So what exactly is happening inside our bodies when we hit that shutdown switch? All right, let's get into the science of it, system by system. It's almost instant. The moment you sit, your body's engine, your metabolism, just starts to idle. The electrical activity in your leg muscles flatlines, and your calorie burning rate totally tanks, dropping to about 1 calorie a minute. Practically nothing. And you can see the domino effect right here. The enzymes that help you burn fat, they drop by like 90%. Why? Because your body only makes them when you move. So no movement, no enzymes. Your body gets worse at managing blood sugar, and we'll see why that's so bad in a second. Blood flow gets sluggish, digestion slows way down. It is literally a full body shutdown. Now, let's zoom in on that insulin point because this is so important. When you're sitting, your muscles aren't asking for any fuel, right? So your cells start to ignore insulin, which is the key that lets sugar in for energy. This means your pancreas has to work way harder to get the message through, and that, right there, is the fast track to type 2 diabetes. And it's not just what's happening on the inside. There's real physical damage happening too. Sitting puts a crazy amount of uneven pressure on your spinal discs. Your core muscles, they just give up, which forces your back to pick up the slack. Your hips get all tight and short, and your glutes, well, since they aren't being used, they basically switch off and forget how to fire properly. Some trainers even call it gluteal amnesia. And this is where things can get really scary really fast. When your circulation slows down from sitting too long, blood can actually start to pool in your legs. This creates the perfect storm for a blood clot to form, which is called deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. And if a piece of that clot breaks free and travels to your lungs, it can be fatal. Okay, so the risks are obviously serious, but it's really easy to hear all this and think, yeah, but that's not me. So let's bust a few of the most common myths that give us a totally false sense of security. This is the big one, right? I go to the gym, so I'm fine. But the research is pretty clear. It doesn't work that way. The negative metabolic stuff starts happening the minute you sit down. Your workout is great, it's crucial, but you can't just pay off 8 hours of damage with one 30-minute session. It's like trying to undo a whole day of eating junk food with one salad. We've all heard this one. And while it's a great soundbite to get people's attention, let's be real. Smoking is worse. But that doesn't let sitting off the hook. The reason the comparison works so well is because it takes a really common, totally normal behavior and correctly frames it as a major health hazard, which it is. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about the fix. And the best part is you don't need to go out and get a gym membership or completely change your life to fight back. All you really need is a few minutes. And honestly, this is the most important thing to remember. The antidote to sitting isn't a single huge workout. It's just frequent little movements. Simply breaking up those long stretches of sitting is actually more powerful for fixing that metabolic damage. Every single time you stand up, you get to hit the reset button. And you can literally start right now at your desk. Come on, let's do it. First, just get rid of that tension. Gently roll your neck, shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and let them drop. Next, let's wake up your back with a simple seated twist. Now get that blood moving. Extend your legs out, rotate your ankles. And finally, the most important step of all, just stand up and have a good stretch. See? That's Now, for the times you do have to sit, we can at least reduce some of the strain. Think of this as a quick little checkup for your workspace. Are your feet flat on the floor? Is the top of your screen at or just below eye level so you're not hunching over? Are your elbows at about 90 degrees? This isn't a cure, but it's really smart damage control. So, how do we turn all of this into a real, lasting habit? Well, it's all about building a new normal, a new baseline where little bits of movement are just part of your day, every single day. I think this quote just says it all, doesn't it? We need to stop worrying so much about counting the hours in the chair and start focusing on never, ever letting 30 or 60 minutes go by without getting up and moving, even for a second. So let's take back control with these super simple habits. Seriously, set a timer on your phone for every 30 minutes. Make your next phone call a walking call. These aren't supposed to be extra workouts. This is about weaving movement back into the life you're already living. And that brings us right here to the most important part. This last question isn't for tomorrow or for next week. It's for right now. What is the one small thing you are going to do the second this is over to break the cycle? Maybe it's just to stand up.